gonna document a video of me traveling. I know that being overweight and traveling, that can sometimes bring about a lot of anxiety. So right now I'm walking to my rental car that I already had for when I took my daughter to college. As you can hear, I'm out of breath from walking. But I always make sure I get at least an intermediate or full-size car so that I'm comfortable and not a compact. And also, I'm very tall. I'm almost right under 5'10", so it allows for more leg room. So always rent intermediate or full-size at least. You may be thinking you don't want to pay more for a bigger car, so what I do is I usually rent one size smaller than what I actually want, and when I get up to the rental counter, I just ask for a free upgrade. If they have the car in stock and it's not a busy weekend or a holiday weekend, they typically will give it to you. Now, I admit I am a frequent traveler, so I always stick to renting from the same company, which for me is Avis, and you can see here on my receipt, I rented an full-size car, but I did a free upgrade to an intermediate SUV, which is I just simply asked, hey, do you have any free upgrades? They were like, yeah, we have a car we can put you in, and it's just that simple, and that it happens quite frequently. You're going to be very tempted to select flights that get you to your destination quicker, but no, pause, be patient, and select flights that give you a little bit longer time in between connections, because more than likely you're going to have a lot of walking you have to do, and you don't want to be stressed out having to walk really quick or run to your next gate. That can be very frustrating and just add to your anxiety. You also have these really cool walking, I don't even know what they're called, but I say stand to the right, and you can either just stand still or walk faster, but definitely they will get you to your gate really quick so that you're not as stressed out. And the dreaded actually taking your seat. So as you can see right here, I have an exit row seat. I make sure that I'm in exit row so I have a little bit more time. I have, again, my app downloaded on my phone so that I can make sure that I'm able to select a exit row seat. I don't even mind paying an extra $10 for it. The only thing is with exit row seating, if you require a seatbelt extender, you can't seat there. But you also have the option to sit in business class. I would avoid first class. You usually don't have to go that extreme. But again, take a look at this extra room I have, because you have to have room for people to be able to go out the door if you're an exit row seat. And I'll also see if I can find seats where there's no one sitting beside me. So again, I have that extra room. Yeah, here we go. The app again, where you have the option to upgrade to business class. As soon as I sit down, I extend my seatbelt out as far as it can go before even trying to buckle it. That way I don't, I can buckle it. And don't be embarrassed if you need a seatbelt. Listen, if you have to ask for an extender, don't be embarrassed. It's all about safety. And honestly, the flight attendants, they're used to people asking for them. For them, it's not a big deal. Yeah, you're going to probably be slightly embarrassed, but just ask them for it as you're walking onto the plane, and they'll discreetly give one to you, because they totally understand. Again, this is what they do for a living, and at the end of the day, it's about your safety. And we are off. I have plenty of leg room, plenty of elbow room, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the flight. So, true story. Normally, when I travel, a lot of times I travel alone. Sometimes it's for a group of us meeting up. This particular trip, where I've recorded, is for a few of us meeting up at a central location. And it's not uncommon for you to, as a greeting, how was your flight, how's your trip? And typically, it's a conversation that lasts, I don't know, a couple of minutes, just for everybody to say it was fine or it wasn't. It usually only goes on if someone has just crazy delays, weather, things like that. It is such a coincidence that I hadn't stopped filming or documenting my journey an hour or two prior to us meeting up, and And actually, I was distracted when the conversation was going. I told them mine was good, and went on about my business. I was trying to catch up on my email to see what I had missed while I was traveling. And I just hear something about large people and taking up multiple seats. And so, of course, immediately I'm like, okay, wait, what are we talking about again? Because I've out of all my travel and trips I've taken, I've never really heard this discussion around or with me personally. So it was different to hear the perspective of people who are like half of me, um, talking about sitting by big people and seeing big people, spill over their seat or need a couple of seats, and shouldn't they be buying two seats? And it was it was very disturbing, and I was a little sad, and it did have me down for a couple of hours. But I know internally, but of course I know how to turn it on if I have to. And I wouldn't say it was me being fake, because I genuinely was very happy to be where I was and to have the experiences that I did. But I was more so sad, just thinking, what more can I do to educate um, on a greater scale? Of course, you can one off with people, but what about on a grander scale? Because I'm just thinking, okay, you never know what someone's situation is. Yeah, you're saying, and I'm not talking about just my specific subset of coworkers. I'm just talking about in general, people who say these things. You would think, oh yeah, a larger person should buy two seats. What if they had a family emergency? What if they're rushing somewhere? You hear on TV and people complain all the time about the cost of airline tickets, how they're raising the prices and shrinking the seats and shrinking the leg room while it's still increasing the prices. So imagine if you're complaining about this one little ticket you have to buy, um, having to buy two. You may already barely have the money for that one, and now you're expected to buy two. I admit I know the anxiety of, and so I'm sure plenty of other people, like me, know the anxiety of when you're getting on the plane, you're wondering, okay, am I going to be sitting by someone larger or someone smaller? I'm sure everyday people probably don't even think about things like that when they're getting on the plane. They're more so thinking about, am I afraid of flying? Or, are they going to be out of my favorite juice? Little small things like that. My heart literally beats as I walk down that aisle. And I'm not just scanning for my seat. I can find my seat fairly quickly because I travel so often. But I'm scanning to see who am I sitting by. So then it's like, okay, I hope I'm sitting by someone actually my size or so, because then they understand the stress of it all. But then I'm like, okay, but do I wish I'm sitting by someone smaller so that we're not squished the whole time? But I just think that when you're thinking about people and their size and their seats, just pause for a second and don't make it about you. Don't make it about you. Think about the anxiety, anguish that they also must feel. I'm sure they didn't wake up that morning like, oh, can't wait to go squish someone today. That's typically not how that works. I'm sure I'm sure they feel just as uncomfortable and as embarrassed, probably more so about it. And again, it doesn't help that the airlines are shrinking these seats at all, which is why I take you back to be strategic in the seats that you can select. And if you can get two seats, great, wonderful, do that. Hell, if I'm a size 5, I wouldn't mind having two seats just so I can sit my things there or lean over, especially if it's a longer flight, and go to sleep. But I just say always think about there's usually more to the story. You never know. But wasn't that ironic to have to be, I would say, involved in the conversation, but not really, because I didn't, I was like, yikes, I just filmed something about this, but it was just really ironic and a coincidence, because it was my first time being firsthand witness to that dialogue from people on the other side of the problem. And I use the word problem loosely.